I'm going to try and do an intro, but it's going to not go well because I'm a bit nervous and today is mad. But hi guys, Jimmy here, welcome back to another video. We're back at Buttmore Park because today I'm going to be doing something quite insane, which you've read the title of by now, you know what it is. I'm going to be driving an F1 car around a karting circuit. So this was set up with the guys at Buttmore, so before I go any further I've got to say a massive thank you for setting this up and giving me this chance to experience a bit of F1 history, and we'll get to the car in a minute because it's absolutely mad. And I'm glad that I can be part of sort of the reopening of this place. As I said in my last video, this place means it means a lot to me. I've not had a massive history here, but my short motorsport history started here. So to be back here, I think it's 2 and a bit years later after my first ever race to drive an F1 car. It's all right.
In fact, I was so nervous that I sort of forgot to introduce the car. So, here it is.
So yeah, 30s TS19, 550 horsepower, 600 kilos, some aero, but we're never going to get anywhere near that today. And big fat old rear tyres, which are about the size of me. Oh man, to drive a 70s F1 car as your first, as my first F1 car, that sounds a bit optimistic, doesn't it? But driving a car from the 70s is pretty intimidating. I've sat in it once without the cowl on. It is just sitting down. You've got a tank of fuel either side of you, so you're nice and warm if anything goes wrong. Rev limiter set to I think 9,000 RPM, or maybe it's 10.2, I'm not sure, but high enough to make a lot of really cool, really fun noise. And basically we get 5 laps out there to, well, demo it, go around. I watched the mechanic, a fellow named Ian, go around earlier on. That looked cool. That was a small moment, but it's all good. And I'm just hoping that I can get around in one piece. I think everyone is, of course. I mean, if you break something on this, then they don't make anything anymore, so it all costs all the money in the world.
So an engine's 85 grand?
An engine's 85 grand. You can buy one as they raced back in the 70s, but Cosworth to charge you 85 grand for it. And that was the last price I heard, so it's probably up to 100 by now.
Oh, good.
So it's just a case of going straight up here, hold it about 4,000, feed the clutch in gently, and just creep away and onto the circuit here, and then when you come back, just do what I did, loop round the other end again.
But you're missing the hairpins. And is there anywhere particular they need to be careful in terms of putting it down, or go up the hill, obviously?
Yeah, it's that curve down the bottom where the puddle is.
Yeah.
As soon as you come round there, once you're straight, you can give it a bit of stick, but just don't hit it in the corner. So when it hits about 5.5, 6, then the power comes in with a whoosh. You'll feel that when you come down here, because you can give it a fair bit of squirts straight down here. It's just a glorified go-kart. Just got a little bit more power.
You've just said that on camera.
What do you weigh roughly? 75?
74, 75, yes, like that.
Yeah, it's about 630 kilos with nearly 500 horsepower.
Nice.
How you feeling, Steve?
A little bit nervous. Never driven anything like this, anything remotely close to this before. So just hoping I don't bin it, basically.
We'll do that time challenge, yeah?
Lap time challenge, yeah. Slowest wins. Got to be nice and careful with this.
The end of Steve duty.
Here it is. I've signed my life away officially. I'm done. That's the last you ever see of me.
Bye.
After we had both signed our lives away, Steve and I walked up to the circuit to take part in a demo run at the start of the day, where basically we would dress up in these lovely Buttmore overalls and chase the Formula 1 car around the Buttmore circuit. Unfortunately, we haven't got much footage of this, but I can tell you it was amazing to sit behind an F1 car and hear it just pop and bang and then disappear down the straight. Mad experience, and really helped get me even more excited for the drive later on. After the run was finished, I headed back down to the garage to get ready for my turn out in the 30s.
I thought I'd show you sort of what it's like getting in the car. It's not my insert, so I should fit a bit easier than normal. But first of all, it's pretty mad because getting in first of all is oh god, the suit makes things quite tricky. It's hard enough. Let's move these belts out of the way. Oh, hear it. And then once you're in,
You have to sort of lower yourself by the sides here, get your feet in first and bend them to the side because the steering rack gets in the way, and then get yourself in. And then you're in the car. Getting out is kind of similar. I've done this once so far. Hopefully I can do it again. It's all arms, no legs. Stand to the seat. And out. But it's just crazy like how compact it is in there. Even the pedals, I'm wearing some quite slim trainers. There's crossover. So I'm glad I got the boots, otherwise it would be pretty scary driving that thing.
It was very graceful to me, Jimmy.
Thank you, Steve! And then, all of a sudden, it's my turn to get into the car, to go out to run an F1 car around the Butmore circuit. You can see, getting into the car now, just getting strapped in. And at this point, to be honest, I wasn't really that nervous. Nervous isn't the right word. It's more like apprehension about what's about to happen. You want to get out there and you want to do it. You want to go drive the thing. And just sitting there in the cockpit knowing that such great names as Alan Jones and Henry Pescarolo had driven this car before, and now me, idiot YouTuber, was sitting in the same place. It felt very special, and I felt a new wave of respect for those who had driven these things in anger. As I sat there with a fuel tank between my legs, I sat there contemplating for the next few minutes on what was about to happen until it was time to fire up the mighty DFV V8 behind me. This entire time, oh my god, I'm in a Formula 1 car, what do I do, and just trying to keep myself calm as I did my first outlap in the TS19 and almost afraid to even look at the throttle. The whole point of this is just a demo, not to really do anything crazy, but you got to feel what it's like, got to feel what the V8's like. So I opened it up just a little bit on the back straight, and even then you could just feel the surge of power that comes from the DFV V8 behind you. What a noise it makes too. I feel bad that I'm talking over it, so I think I'm going to shut up for a bit and let you guys just enjoy the noise, the natural noise of a Formula 1 car from the 70s. The entire time while driving this thing, you kind of have to, really. It's so loud, and even then I could just feel the noise. It just penetrates your body, which I think is probably appropriate for the Durex car. But you can see on this bottom end of a circuit, really hard just to actually get the car to turn in and turn around. The steering rack far too slow for a circuit like this. Never designed, of course, for a karting circuit was the TS19, but every time I got onto a little bit straighter, the confidence started to raise a bit more. And actually, shut up, Jimmy, let's hear it. Running into the rev limiter that time. I think it was set a bit lower than it should have been for my run, but it still sounded great just off the top of first gear there. Only using first gear around the circuit, you don't need anything else, as you can really see. There's no room for it, but what an amazing insight into what it must have been like to drive this car in anger. And again, I'm going to shut up for a bit because I just like listening to this thing. Such a good could just listen to that forever. But something else I've not really mentioned is just how big those rear tyres are. Look at it through here, how close they are to the curbs and whatnot compared to the front tyres. It's kind of weird to get used to that, I gotta say. So one of those things that if you're racing, you have to sort of be a little bit careful where the rear end is pointing, otherwise you might end up taking off a rear wheel. Sounding like one of those really annoying F1 people who always say, bring back X, I want the V10s, etc, blah blah blah. This car just felt pure, it really did. Engine sat just behind you, screaming away. You can see the front wheels as well. You feel exposed, you're sitting high in the cockpit. No buttons on the steering wheel, and all you've got on the dash is a rev counter, a fuel gauge, and an oil temp gauge. It just feels so much more analog than any of the cars today. Curve for the last time, the checkered flag came out signaling it was time for me to come in, but what an experience to be out there, sitting in a piece of history, driving around the circuit where I first made my motorsport debut. It was all a little bit much on the in-lap, so I just savoured the run to the pit lane and tried to get my head around what had just happened.
Alright, that is. Bloody hell. Oh, thank you very much. It's alright.
Holy shit. I have nothing else to say. What an amazing experience, my god. I can't tell you just how visceral it is. You're there, you can hear this awesome DFV behind you, and of course you're not pushing it, you're not unleashing it at all, but the constant reminder that you're just burning dinosaurs behind you, and it obviously very understeery on wet tyres around a circuit that's not really designed for it, and I didn't really give it anything at all apart from down the straight a couple of times where I almost got to full throttle, but the way it picks up is just absolutely unreal. I remember a couple of years ago, right, I came here as a guest to a WTF1 event and they had some of these cars going around, and I thought, person in that, lucky bastard, proper lucky bastard. And now I'm a lucky bastard. I don't know what to say apart from thank you so much to Buttmore for setting this all up for me, for letting me drive this amazing machine. And I'm just sort of in a bit of shock, really. I've driven an F1 car. This absolute degenerate driven an F1 car. Fuck. Whew. So that's us done for the day. What an experience. What an amazing car. To hear it go round and to then get in and drive it, to be behind it in the carts as well, all of that stuff, just amazing. So when I started this I guess journey, you know, as a pretend racing driver, whatever the hell I am now, my dream was to go for a passenger that in a race car. I never thought at any point I'd get to drive a Formula 1 car, and yeah, it's one of those life-defining moments for me, and a massive amount of respect for the guys who did that Enquiries. We only went round in first gear. I can't imagine what it would be like shifting up to fifth gear, you know, going through the Straits of Hockenheim. Must have been unreal. But yeah, thanks guys for supporting us as you always do. Wouldn't be here without any of you guys. watching the videos and being as lovely as you are. And let's hope we get to do more stuff like this in the future. I mean, you always want to go forward, but this feels like a bit of a peak. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. All the good stuff. Take care. Have an awesome day. See you next time.